Well guys, here it is. It's part 2 of the Tiny Hackintosh. Look at that beauty. She's as quiet as she can be. Super nice setup, guys. You're really gonna like this one. And guess what? Handoff, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, everything works on it. We Hackintoshed it. This is TechNolli, and let's get going on this little fun machine. Okay guys, here we are, and this little box is really amazing. If you look up here, we have our Wi-Fi, which is built in, and we have our Bluetooth, and they're both working perfectly. And this is of course on that little Apple card, a real Wi-Fi Bluetooth card. And what I'm going to show you first is I'm going to grab my iPhone and I'm going to show you Handoff is working. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to write myself an email message, and as you can see, it already shows up right there on the screen. Let me get this started. And I'm going to type in support. Okay, so I started an email message on my iPhone, and look right here, guys. Boom. Click on that, and there it is. Is that cool? So, Handoff, working. Let's go over here to iMessage. Contacts, working. So here we go. We got Handoff. We've got iMessage. Of course, I'm logged into with Apple ID, and it all works. But you have to change those serial numbers to get it to work properly. So don't forget to do that when you're doing yours. Okay? All right, so what I want to do now is just do some benchmarks. And this is going to give us an idea of what you can expect to do with this computer. All right, so let's start off with Geekbench 5. And we're going to run this. And as soon as it's done, I'll come back. So let's get started. Okay, guys, here's our scores, and very impressive. 1008 for a single, 4681 for a multi. Let's see what that compares to. Mac benchmark chart 1008. So 1008. How about an iMac 27-inch early 2019? Is that crazy? Do you know what that computer cost? This computer's $555. And in here, right here, it's a 21-inch. It's the same computer. And look at this. MacBook Air early 2020. That's a pretty good score for a MacBook Air. So let's go to multi. So we had 4681. Let's see where we are. 4681. There's 46, 47. So we're right between these two. MacBook Pro that still sells for about $1,400 used. And of course, we still have this iMac 21-inch. So these are great scores. Great scores. Okay. Let's go ahead and run Cinebench. Let me go up here. Grab that. Okay. And because I'm running my screen capture software in the background, I can go ahead and start it, but I have to stop the screen capture. I can't show it to you because it will affect my score. Okay? So I'll go ahead and click it, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, here's our score. Really nice score. 2279. So we're just under this i7 7700 and way above this i7 6700. Great score. Let's see what it can do in real world. All right? When I first started thinking about building this computer, I thought to myself, you know what, a lot of guys have been asking me if I could build them a little tiny Hackintosh that they could run Logic Pro on. So I was like, that's a good idea. So let's run our benchmark on Logic and just see what we can do with this little thing, because this would be the perfect system for Logic. It's small, it makes no noise, and I think we're going to be really impressed with the numbers. Okay, so we've got 24 tracks set up here. We've got a VST instrument on each track and 5 plugins on each one of these tracks, and then we've got a limiter on the stereo bus. Now I'm going to go over here and I want to show our load meters so we can see what's going with our CPU cores and all that. Alright, so right here, guys, so you know, go to Preferences and Audio. So what I want to show you is I'm running 32 buffers for this, okay? And now I want to go over here to Recording, and I want to show you the project settings. Right now I'm running at 44.1, okay? So let's see what 24 tracks does. Oh, we got plenty of room here. We're only about halfway up on this. 24 tracks, 32 buffers, 24 VST instruments. All right, let's just crank it up. Let's see if we can get 50 tracks out of it. There's 50. How's that for a home studio? All right, let's see if it'll handle it. Okay, we pegged the meters a little bit, but no system overload. That's cool. No system overload, and I still got a little bit of room left there. All right, let's crank it up. Let's go for 60. Will it handle 60 tracks? I don't think so, but let's check it out. Play. Okay, 60 tracks. It's holding. Wow. 60 tracks. I got one little core here that's still got a little room left in it. 60 virtual instruments. Oh my God. All right, let's see what the breaking point is. Let me crank it up to 63. Will it handle? I like even numbers. 64. Okay, let's go. All right. Nope. System overload. Let's back it down a couple. All right, 62 tracks. Will it handle it? 62 tracks. No, I think 60 was the limit. Yeah, let's call it 60, guys. There's 61, but I don't know. Yeah, 60 is the limit. So I'll take it back down to 60. And she should run. Yep, there we go. All right, now for all you guys that have to have super high-end audio, let's go crazy. Let's go over here and change the project to, let's just go nuts. Let's go to 96K. Now you guys in the audio world know what it takes to run this, right? Takes some juice, takes some power. I'm going to drop it down to 24 tracks again, because, you know, it's like double. Now we're still at 32 buffers. All right, 24 tracks. Let's back it up and hit it. Ooh, no. No, no, no. It won't do it. Won't do 24 tracks. System overload. All right, let's drop it down to 22 tracks. 22 tracks. Okay, we can get 22 tracks out of it, guys. Now I'm running my OBS screen capture software in the background, so that's going to take some power away from this computer. But 22 tracks at 96 with 32 buffers. Now if I change these buffers, let's see if it makes any difference at all. because I know I could easily get away with probably 128 buffers. Let's see if we can squeeze another track or two out of it. See if it makes any difference. Okay, there's back to 24 tracks. Alright, let's see. No. Let's just go crazy and let's just say we're in mix mode and we're going to drop it down to 1024. Okay, let's give this a go. Wow, no. So 22 tracks, that's it, guys. 22 tracks at 96 and 60 tracks at 44.1. You could probably get like 55 tracks at 48. So this is a monster of a machine for $555 for Logic Pro or for audio recording in general. So you can do a lot with this. Now, guys, remember, this motherboard will support, well, it'll support an i9, but the problem is you can only use a 65 watt processor. So you could put in an i7 9700, not the K, but just the 9700. You'd have the same setup, but you'd be able to squeeze a lot more out of it in Logic. But man, for most people, this will do it all. That's amazing. Okay, let's get over to Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Pro, because I know a lot of you guys want to see what this thing is capable of. Because you're thinking, oh, okay, $555, there's no way I could do video editing. There's no way I could use it for audio production, you know, for like a studio. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. This is amazing. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this down a little bit because I want to get a stopwatch and see how fast this thing is. Let's see, stopwatch. Okay, right there. All right, so let's put this over here. I know there's a way to turn off this render screen from coming up, but I forget what that command is. What is it, guys? Tell me. I don't want that screen to come up, but I forget how to do it. All right, I'm not a Final Cut Pro guy. I'm not even a video editor to speak of. I use Adobe Premiere for my YouTube videos, but maybe I should start using Final Cut. Okay, I'll click here, and then we'll go up here. Master file and settings. Right now it's set to default, which is Source Apple ProRes 422, and the resolution is 5120 by 2700. So I'm going to click next and save it to the desktop, and then I'm going to jump over here and press this. Okay. Okay, guys, I didn't catch it quite soon enough, but it was about 1 minute and 9 seconds for this render. So what does this say? This says that yes, you can do work on this computer. It's not the fastest computer, but you can get work done. It's not just an office machine. It's not just a home computer for just email and surfing the web. You can actually do some things with this computer. Okay, let's get started with building the Efi folder for this puppy. All right? Okay, guys, so I'm going to put in my USB stick. And I've already made a vanilla USB with this, with the other video, and that will be in the description below, how to make our vanilla USB stick. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to use Mounter, this Mounter program, Mount EFI, right click and open. And what we use this program for is to mount this USB hidden EFI partition. So right here, number one is install macOS Catalina. Install macOS Catalina. So I'm going to press number 1, put in my password, and here is my hidden EFI partition. And look, there's nothing inside of it. So we need to build an EFI folder for this. All right, so I'm going to put it over here. So what we need to do is you're going to download all of these files right here and these 2 drivers and kext in the description below on my website for this particular video, and this will only work for this particular setup, okay? So what we have to do is we have to go to our Opencore folder, and we need to drag over this Efi folder. Real simple. But we have a lot to do. So we're going to double click on it, double click on OC, and then go under Docs, and you're going to see a sample plist. Let's drag that over there. All right, we're done with that. Now we got to rename this to config.plist. All right, we're done with that. While we're here, I'm going to go under Tools, and I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these files. Don't need them. Okay, now under ACPI, there are no SSDTs because we haven't built them yet. Under drivers, we've got all of these, and the only one that we need is this open runtime. So I'm going to get rid of these. Okay, and while I've got this open, I'm going to go over here to drivers because I need two drivers out of here. I need these two, and I'm just going to copy them over. Okay, now let's go back and kext. As I've said in other videos, kexts are kind of like drivers. And right here, for this particular build, are the kext for this system. Apple ALC is for audio. This Intel Mousy, because this motherboard has an Intel Ethernet chipset on it. We need this one. And Lilu, Virtual SMC, and whatever green we need for all of our Hackintoshes. So I'm going to copy these over. And we are done with the kext. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to build those SSDTs. And as you remember, I said right here, they go in this folder, and there's none in here. So let's go over to the Opencore website. I've got it bookmarked right here. And we are on a Coffee Lake chipset motherboard. So here's Coffee Lake. We'll just click on that. And then we'll come down here to ACPI. And this is where we need to make these. We have to compile these SSTTs. And this one down at the bottom we can go ahead and download. So I'll just download this one real quick. It's already ready to go. Okay? And I'll just grab it because I want to put them all on the desktop. Okay? So there it is. All right, that one's done. Okay. Now let's go back, and we'll go right here, and this is the other three that we need to do. So what I want you to do is just open up this little Mac IASL file, program actually, and right-click and open, and then open. Okay, and then go up here to File and go New, and then we can close this one out. I'm going to put this over here. Okay, I'm going to scoot this over a little bit so I can see both screens. And we're going to click right here, and we're going to see all of this system language right here, right? Okay, we're going to click on Raw. And then all we do, guys, here is just click in here somewhere and then select all and copy. And then we can come over here and just paste. Okay? Now, we'll go back, and this is what it's named. So I'm going to go over here to File, Save As, and I'm going to save it as SSDT-plug. And then really important, guys, we have to change this to our desktop, but even more important is the file format has to be ACPI, Machine Language Binary. So change that and then save it. Okay, so now we have that one. So I'll just go ahead and highlight all these and delete them. We'll go back over here to our Coffee Lake and back down to our SSDTs, and we'll grab the next one, and we're going to do Raw and select all and copy and paste. This one right here, that's what we're going to name it. Save as EC-USBX. And desktop and the same file format. Okay, let's go ahead and get rid of that. We got one more to do, guys. Let's go back over here. Coffee Lake. Okay, we have this AWAC to do. Raw. Select all and copy. And then paste. There we go. Alright, and file. Save as. And this one is called AWAC. Alright, we're done with this program. We can go ahead and close it out. And now we have our 4 SSDTs. And they need to go into our ACPI folder right here. So I'm just going to grab them and put them in there. Beautiful. Now we're done. Now we can get started with the real work. You thought you were done, didn't you? All right, let's get going with this. So now we need to use a little program called ProperTree. Double click on it, right click on ProperTree.command and open it. Okay, we're going to come up here like this. I'll squeeze it in a little bit. I'm going to put it over here. And then we'll go up to Open. And then we have to go to that EFI, which is right here. OC and then config.plist and click Open. Okay, now we can go ahead and get rid of these warnings right here. Don't need to have them. All right, and boom, there we go. All right, now guys, if you remember, in our EFI and in our EFI folder, we, under OC, we put in these files, we put in these drivers, and we put in these kexts. Well, this EFI config.plist has to know where these files are, and right now it has no clue where they are. So let me close this out, and what we want to do is just go up here to File, OC Snapshot, and then click on the EFI folder, OC, and then you just click Choose and watch over here. See how it just injected all of those items that we put in there? Everything. But right now these are set to false. These SSDTs, we need to turn them on. So let's just go over here to File, OC Cleanup, and then right there and choose, and it just turned them on to true. So a friend of mine, Marcus, told me all about that little trick, so I love it. Okay, so we're back on Coffee Lake right here. We're done with our ACPI. So let's move on down and let's get into our quirks, which is under ACPI. And right here, we need to make sure that these are all set to no. No equals false. Yes on this side means true over here. So they are all false. Here's booter. Right here's booter. And all of this stuff, guys, as you start doing more Hackintoshes, or maybe this will be the first and last one you do, but if you start doing more and more, you're going to start understanding what all of these comments mean, because they all start to make sense the more that you play with it. So we'll go down here, booter, and we want to go to quirks, and we want to check all of this information with here. So avoid runtime defrag, yes. Now this next one is a little confusing because it talks about the Z390 motherboard. Well, this is a B360. So we're going to leave this set to false. Okay? All right, let's go on down here to enable safe mode slide. Right there, true. The next one is also true. And then we'll come down here till we see this provide custom slide. True, and it is correct. And then the next one is rebuild Apple memory map, and we want to go ahead and turn that on. So true. And then this last one down here, the sync runtime permission, we're going to go ahead and turn that one on. Okay. Now this next section, guys, we have a lot of work to do in order to make the onboard graphics to work on this particular motherboard. This will not work on every Intel 630 chipset. Unfortunately, guys, it's different for different motherboards. Some are very easy to get working and some require more work. So what we have to do is we have to go ahead and change this first value right here. As you can see, it says right here, this setting is used when the desktop iGPU is used to drive a display. So if you're going to hook up a monitor, which we are right now, to the HDMI port on this motherboard, we need to put in this value. So I'm going to copy this, come over here, double click, and then paste it and hit enter. Now, unfortunately, that does not fix everything with this particular board. We have to come on down here and do some frame buffer patching. And right here is the first one that we need to put in. So what I want you to do is just right click on this and click on new sibling, and then right here I want you to copy this text, just that, double click and paste it into here, then change this to data and grab this number and paste. Alright, and then we're going to do another sibling, and we're going to grab this. Double click, paste, change this to data, and put in this number. Now when I first started doing this, I thought, oh, well, that's not so bad, I'm done. Well, it didn't work. So what we have to do is we have to go to Bus ID iGPU patching page. So just click on that. And I'm going to try to make this a little easier for you guys. So we'll just come on down here because I've already tested all of this stuff. We'll come on down here to where we see this information. We have to use all of these patches in addition to what we've already done here. So let's get started. Let's right click, new sibling. Let's copy this one and paste it into here. Change this to data, and we'll put in that number. Paste. All right. Next one. Paste. Change the data. It's the same number. This is to get our ports to work. We're actually changing the port values that Apple uses to get our graphics to work. And it's kind of confusing, but that's the best explanation I can give you right now. Data, and then that same number, copy, paste it in there. Okay, now we still have three more to do. These are our different port numbers, right? But we have to use these numbers, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do another sibling, and I'm going to grab this text right here, paste it in here, change it to data, and then I'm going to grab this number clear across here and put it in. All right, let's get started with the next one. New sibling. And then grab this number. So you can see it takes a lot of trial and error to get some of these Hackintoshes to work. It's not always just as simple as building a USB stick and then everything works great. Sometimes you have to do a lot more research to get it to work properly. And this is our last one, guys. Just copy this and put it in here. Whew! Alright, we're done. So that's a lot of info just to get onboard graphics to work. But that's what we had to do. Okay, let's go back over here to Coffee Lake. And we're done with our device section, which is right here. We're done with this. So we can move on down to kernel. And kernel's right here. So we'll just go ahead and scoot on down here until we see quirks right there. So let's go down here, and here they are. Now, on this motherboard, we're going to go ahead and turn both of these to true. And we'll come down here to disable low mapper and set that to true. And panic no kex dump true. The next one is also true. And down here, this is for our USB port mapping. We're going to set that to true. Okay, done with that. Let's move on to miscellaneous. And everything here is good until we get down to debug, which is right here, debug. We need to set both of these to true. And then this target needs to be 67. Okay. All right. Then we're going to check our security, allow NVRAM reset, needs to be true. The next one needs to be true, default. And then all this is good until we get down to scan policy, needs to be 0. And then this vault needs to be optional. Okay. We're almost done, guys. Hang in there. Let's come down here. So we're on NVRAM, and we have to add a few boot arguments. Okay? So we've got 2 of them already in here. So let's double click this and put a space between each of the arguments. So right here is where we grab debug and put it over here. And then a space. We have one more that's for audio, for injecting our audio. This is kind of like Clover. And enter, and boom, done. Done with those. All right, let's move on down here. And we want to change our preferred language. Now right now it's set to Russian. I'm going to change it to English, and right over here is where we get the text to do that. If you're wanting a different language, you can click right here and you can find a different number for your language to put in there. But right now I'm going to grab English, which is this one right here. Copy and paste it in there and hit enter. All right, we're getting down to the end of it here. Now let's move on down here and making sure the legacy enabled and all this, they're fine until we get to write flash needs to be true. Right here, write flash. Now platform info, this is an interesting section. This is where our serial numbers get changed and everything else. Now what we want to check is, for this system to work the best, it is imitating an iMac 19,1. And by default, it's right here. It is set up correctly. So we can skip this section until we get down to our UEFI, which is down here. And all we need to do, guys, is go down toward the end on this side to quirks. And we just have one down here we need to change. Right here. Request, boot, var, fallback. Woo! We're done. So let's go ahead and go over here to File and Save. Because if you don't do that, you just lost everything. All right. So that's it. We are ready to boot this thing. So let's get into BIOS and get started. Okay guys, so we hit that delete key and got in the BIOS. And what we want to do on this one is just go right over to where it says BIOS. Okay, so skip over to here. And we see we have fast boot. We want that disabled. We need to have Windows 8/10 features set just like it is here. Okay, not other OS. Okay, it has to be set to this one is the best one. WHQL. CSM support is always disabled. All right, let's go over to peripherals. We are definitely using the initial display output, which is the internal graphics. We have our onboard LAN enabled. The RGB doesn't matter because we don't have any right now. This can be disabled. Intel platform. Software guard is software controlled. Trust computing, don't worry about it. Super I/O configuration. This silly motherboard has 4 serial ports and they all need to be disabled. Okay, let's go back out of here. USB configuration. Enable, 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 and disable. So there we go. Handoff is a very important one, especially with Hackintosh. That always needs to be enabled. Let's go out of here. Network stack is disabled. NVMe configuration. We don't need to worry about it. Plug-in device info, no problems. SATA, we definitely want the SATA controllers turned on. And AHCI is our mode. All right. Here's our 2 Ethernet controllers. This has 2. I'm just using the one Intel Ethernet connection, the i219. If I needed both of them to work, then I would need one other kext, which is small tree, put into my Efi folder. All right. Chipset. Under chipset, we need VTD disabled. Internal graphics is auto. That's fine. We definitely need to have 64 megabytes allocated, and 256 on this one is fine. Audio controller is turned on, and so is above 4G decoding enabled. All right. So you want everything just like you see it here, guys. All right. Security, we don't need to mess with, so we just save and exit. Make sure you have your USB stick in the computer. Okay, guys, so I'm pressing the F12 key because I want to select my USB stick. All right, I'll go down here. And now we come up here. Now notice I've got Windows on this too. So I want to choose my install macOS Catalina external because that is the USB stick. So hit enter. And as we always do with our Hackintoshes, we go through a lot of text. And this will come up to our format window where we can use our disk utility to format the drive and start installing. Now guys, sorry I had to switch over to the camera, but when you're using internal displays, my capture device will not get enough signal to drive it. So I have to use the camera for these BIOS screens and these boot up screens. Okay, we're going to come across here and then we're going to format the drive. Beautiful. That's what we want. So we'll go to Disk Utility, Continue. Don't forget to press this arrow under View right here and show all your devices. Now I can see everything. And right here, this is the drive that I am going to erase. So I'm going to click Erase and just name it whatever you want. I'm going to call it Mac OS. And then let's change the format to APFS. And we have to have GUID partition map. Click Erase. All right, we're done. Nice and quick. Go out of here, install macOS, continue. Continue, agree and agree. Select our hard drive and install. Okay guys, it says about 4 minutes remaining. And that's about right. When it gets to 2 minutes remaining, it's going to reboot on its own. So we'll leave that USB stick in there because we have to boot from them a couple of more times. All right, be right back. All right, we got 3 minutes remaining. Let's see what happens here. We get down to 2 minutes. And there it goes, just like we thought it would. Okay, guys, we've got to come back up. So we're going to leave our USB stick in there. We're going to come back up to the booter menu again. Okay, and there it is. Number 3 is my option, macOS installer. Hit enter, and it's going to continue the installation. It gets stuck on a couple lines like it always does, but it doesn't stay stuck very long at all. Maybe just a few seconds. So now we're going to continue the installation. And this will take about 13 minutes, something like that. And it's going to go completely across the screen. That line's going to go completely across until it reboots. So when it gets toward the end, I'll come back. Okay, guys, about a minute remaining. And when it gets down here to less than a minute remaining, she's going to reboot again. And we're going to leave the USB stick in there because we still need to come up one more time. All right, there it goes. So let's get back up here. Now when the booter comes up, we're going to choose our hard drive. Okay, and there it is. I named it macOS, so we'll hit enter on that. We're just finishing up the install at this point. Okay, here we go. All right. Very nice. Okay, let's go ahead and pick our country. And I'm going to show you something. This is really cool. So we'll just continue. Look at this. So that Apple card, that Wi-Fi Bluetooth card, it picks up all my networks right here. So no big deal. So I'm just going to click on this one here, put in the password. And here we go. I'm not going to transfer anything. I'm not going to sign into Apple because I haven't changed my serial numbers yet. So don't want to mess up my ID. Agree and agree. Go ahead and name it whatever you want. Put in a password. And continue. Customize, enable location services, sure. Don't want analytics. Continue, set up later. And Siri, yeah, if you want to be on, that's okay. We'll choose dark mode now. Setting up your Mac. Don't you love it when we get here? There we go. Look at that. So, we go up here. We see a transparent bar. That's cool. So we'll go up here, about this Mac. And there we go. Our Intel UHD graphics 630 and 16 gigs. And that's our processor. So we're good. Look at this. System report. Bluetooth. There's our card. Beautiful. And let's go down here to Wi-Fi. And here is our Wi-Fi. And it's natively supported because it's an actual Apple part. That's awesome. Okay, all we have left to do is to transfer our Efi folder from our Efi partition on our USB stick to the hard drive hidden Efi partition. So I've got a little USB stick with a bunch of little programs on it. I'm going to plug it in. Okay. Now, what do I need? I need Mount EFI, and I'm going to go ahead and change our serial number. So I'm going to need Gen SM BIOS, and I'll grab proper tree just in case. All right, guys, so the first thing I want to do is use the Mount EFI. Right-click and open the first time. And I'm going to select number 1, which is my USB stick. Put in my password. And now here is my EFI partition. And I also need to open up the EFI on my hard drive. So I'll press number 5. There we go. Don't need to put the password in the second time. So we'll go over here and computer. And here is my internal, my hard drive EFI, and there's nothing in there. So I want to go over here to my USB EFI and just drag and drop it right into there. Now I don't need my USB stick to boot anymore. So I'll go ahead and eject that. All right. Now let's do this, guys. Let's go ahead and change our serial numbers. So we'll double click on Gen SM BIOS, right click on Gen SM BIOS.command. And the first thing we want to do is press number 1. Okay, and then enter. Press number 2. It wants to know, where is our config.p list? Well, it's right here, guys. We'll go over here to the computer. We want the EFI partition on the hard drive now. Double click OC, and there it is. So we just drag this into here to tell it where it is and hit enter. Then we press number 3, and then right here it wants to know, what did we name our Mac? What was the product name? And if you remember, it's iMac 19,1. We hit enter, and it just injected the serial number, the board number, and the UUID number. Hit enter again, and we are done with this thing. It is beautiful. It is finished. I think this is a very, very nice, this is going to be a very popular Hackintosh because it fits a lot of people's needs. It's really budget, and it's very tiny. All right, guys, thanks so much. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.